afternoon, everyone. I know most of you are joining us from the UAE, but there are some of you who are joining us from other parts of the world as well. It's really very exciting for us to be able to run a beautiful community initiative like this to really support people at a time where we really need this kind of support and empathy from each other. So I'm Jaya. I'm one of the co-founders of Rewardz, and I'm also the CEO for the Middle East region. Um, I have a lot of my colleagues here, and I have my co-host and wellness guru, Bhavna. So, on behalf of all of us, welcome to all of you. And, when the war in the Middle East started, I was actually in Singapore. I was away from my family, and I had just come back from a leadership offsite to Singapore, and I saw the messages on WhatsApp, and it was a shocking moment for me, and it was something that was very unbelievable. And for 7 days, I was in Singapore, away from my family, away from my team, away from the clients here, and the decision to come back was actually a very hard one. And then I thought that, this is a moment where we should think about the long term. We should think about our core values. And one of our core values at Rewards is about being resilient. And in being resilient, what we mean is sometimes about not just managing our stress, but being very mindful of things that are within our control and things that are not in our control. So, with that, I reflected and I thought more in terms of the long term. And I thought about the UAE as being such an excellent example of a nation that's very resilient and very, very strong. And I decided to come back. And when I came back here, I thought that this is a time where we should share the spirit of our core value of resilience with the community to really be out there to help people who may be going through the same emotions where their nervous system is perpetually on a bit of a high alert. Um, and what can we do to support our community? And it was something that we kept brainstorming with the team that how can we support at a time like this? So we decided to come up with this initiative, which we call the Rewardz Rise Up series. And we're going to have a very real conversation and very open conversation about resilience and about how can we regulate our nervous system at a time like this. So that's the spirit of this conversation. It's a safe space where all of you can feel free to share in terms of what you're going through, the emotions that you're facing right now. And for those of you who have recently joined us, please do share in one word, how are you feeling right now? And please send us your message on the chat. While you're doing that, I will do a quick introduction of our guest today. And I'm very, very pleased to introduce to you Bhawna Nihalani. She is a wellness guru, and I think she's a living example of uh, how can you really be happy and be well. Um, Bhavna is a Harvard certified coach, and she's been practicing well-being and wellness for 15 years. Bhavna comes with a lot of experience combining many different areas of well-being, including nutrition, Ayurveda, yoga, and breathwork. And the focus is really on restoring that spirit of calm. She organizes a lot of workshops for corporates and also works with individual. I've known Bhavna for over about 4 to 5 years now. She's a very dear friend. I feel very privileged and honored to have this conversation with you, Bhavna, to really support our community. So let's get this started. And yeah, I'm just admitting a few more people, and let's look at the chat in terms of the feelings that people have shared with us right now. So I can see anxious, ready, enthusiastic, calm, on alert, calm but anxious sometimes, positive. So it's quite a mixed bag here. It's nice to see that it's not doom and gloom. And there are some of us who are feeling a bit more supported. Um, Maybe we give about 30 more seconds to people to really share their feelings in terms of, yeah, what's going on through your mind right now. Please feel free, be open. This is a safe space. Share exactly what is that dominant emotion. Um, and then we'll get this conversation started. Bhavna, would you like to say something to our audience before we go into the questions formally?
Yes, thank you, Jaya, and the Rewards team for having me. I think what's interesting, what's come here is that overall people are fine but anxious when these alerts come, right? And I think we've seen that over the last 2 weeks now. It's been 2 weeks since we've been in this situation. The sound of the alert has been changed by the government because the original sound actually caused anxiousness. And actually, I would say not only anxiousness, the original sound actually caused panic in a lot of us. So they have deliberately made that change of making that sound a little bit more subtle. Uh, so I think that's been a good move, I would say.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And it's nice that the government and they're listening to us and they're doing something to support the calm and that atmosphere. So, with that, thank you everyone for sharing your emotions with us and your feelings with us. I'm gonna get kick it off and go ahead with the questions. So, Bhavna, many of us are feeling disturbed right now. We're feeling anxious. And the question for you is that when a time like this happens, why does our body react so strongly at a moment of uncertainty?
So I think what we need to understand is that this situation that we are currently facing is new for most of us. We're not used to living in these sort of conditions where we don't know what's happening next. Humans are very used to their routine. As human beings, as more and more time passes, we're so particular. 9 o'clock, I'm gonna, get to work. 10 o'clock, I have this meeting. 11 o'clock, I'm gonna do this. And when we are living in these uncertain times, our body is constantly in the state of being alert. This also triggers what we call our fight or flight response. Our body is now into a sympathetic nervous system where it is constantly anxious. Now, this works well if it happens sometimes. You have a deadline coming, your fight or flight gets triggered, your cortisol rises, your adrenaline rises, and you're able to push through sleepless nights. You're able to do more work and you meet that deadline. But now that we've been in this state for what, 17 days now, our body is beginning to break down because fight or flight triggered for a long period of time. Cortisol has been high, nervous system has been on constant alert. You will now start seeing this in your body. You're seeing discomfort in the belly, you're seeing sleep issues, you're seeing a lot of other issues because now this period of anxiety has gone on for 17 days.
Yeah, and I think it gets aggravated every time we check the news or open up our social medias and the amount of even fake news that's going out there. One of the guests mentioned that there's so much fake news and sometimes even simple things which are act of love and kindness when people call in that, oh, I saw this in the news in my country. Are you guys okay? So how does all of this affect our nervous system?
So, first and foremost, is every time we check the news, it is an alert going on in our brain. Now, interestingly, our body cannot differentiate between physical threat and mental threat. So, when you see a lion, if at all we were in a jungle and a lion encountered you, your body's response to a real lion encountering you and reading the news on your phone is the same. That's the level of trigger that your body takes because our body and our nervous system cannot differentiate between a physical real threat and a mental threat that is coming from a news article. And that's very important for us to know that your constant scrolling the news means that's the amount of mental threat your body is getting. It's almost like I'm seeing a lion and then I'm seeing a tiger and then I'm seeing, you know, something else. First and foremost, I think all of us collectively need to stop scrolling that news. And I'm not saying live in your bubble and, be disconnected. But what's happening, and it happened to me personally as well, the first 3 days, I was constantly on the news. Of course, now, I've set aside a time during the day, definitely not first thing in the morning, definitely not last thing in the night, sometime during the day where I set aside 10 minutes to catch up on the news, or if I'm seeing a client, a friend, or whoever, I know they will tell me about it, whether or not I ask for it. Yesterday, for example, was a classic example. I woke up as usual. I did my morning routine. I went to the gym. I came back from the gym at about 9 o'clock when I sat down for breakfast, is when my husband told me, "Did you see what happened today?" And I said, "No, actually, I don't know. No alert came. And so that way, my morning actually went pretty smooth because I didn't know what happened. Is it good to know what's happening? Yes, sure. But only to a limit, right? If you're not going to be able to change it.
That's actually such a good piece of advice because honestly, I mean, when I wake up, the first thing that I'm doing is checking the news. And that definitely takes a hit and does not help me wake up on a very good note. But it's also like, yes, I've slept through the night. And most of the times I'm grateful that I sleep through all these sounds. I think it's a blessing. But when I wake up, I do get into that high cortisol and like flight or fight mode when I check the news, and I'm going to change that habit. So, for our audience here, I see a very nice number. This is very encouraging. Thank you so much. We want to keep the session something that's very engaging and open. And instead of keeping Q&A right at the end of the session, how we're going to do this is I will take two questions from Bhavna, and then I'll pick up a question from the audience in the chat. So, for those of you who already have questions that you are thinking about, please feel free to put it in the chat and we will be taking on those questions. There's no one question yet, so let me go on to my question for you, Bhavna. And for our audience, please start typing in your questions and we'll take that on. But I definitely like the tip that you've shared about don't check the news first thing in the morning and last thing before we go to sleep, because I think that's what most of us are doing and guilty of.
I would
So,
actually add one more tip here, and that's personally helped me a lot because the first night when that alert came at 12:30, it really put me in panic mode. After that day, I've been leaving my phone on flight mode every night. So this morning, same thing. I woke up, went for my yoga class, came back. Only then at about 8:39, I got to know that there was an alert that came at 5 a.m. I didn't even know about it. Because I didn't know about it, my cortisol didn't get triggered and I went about living life normally. I went for my yoga class, I came back, had my breakfast, so on and so forth. So I personally think even the putting my phone on flight mode at night has helped me to remove those triggers.
hmm, yeah, very useful. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to my next question, which is how can someone tell when their nervous system is stuck in a stress response? What are the signs that we should be looking out for and be mindful of?
So our body is always talking to us, right? And I've been talking to a lot of my clients, a lot of companies. A lot of people are facing sleep issues. And I won't lie, personally, for the first 3 nights, I was facing sleep issues. So I was unable to sleep, one. Two, you're having all sorts of weird dreams, right? This is again because your body is constantly stuck in that zone of I'm stressed, I'm scared, I'm anxious. You've got these weird sort of dreams. From a physical perspective, you'll see a lot of so every time that alert comes, everybody's body reacts differently. For me, for example, I used to have this weird feeling inside my stomach, that gut feeling of, oh my God, what up? Um, so those are some of the symptoms that you see. You're also going to start seeing chronic pain, your whether it's your knees, your back, your neck. There's a lot of stiffness that has come around here, because you're constantly in this mode, like, okay, what now? What next? So there's a lot of stiffness, lots of aches and pains coming. There is, again, from an emotional perspective, you'll see a lot of low tolerance, a lot of irritability, getting irritated with people for no reason, getting very triggered again with simple things. Your breath has become shallow. We're breathing so much more shallow now. And for people who have gut issues, a lot of stuff is coming up, whether that's acidity, that's acid reflux. Um, There are people with every trigger are, heading to go to the bathroom, indigestion, loose motions, a lot of physical, mental, and emotional grief is sort of showing up because of this being in this state for 2 weeks plus now.
I can definitely, and maybe my family will agree to that, that I've become a lot more irritable and my behavior is more unpredictable. So they can now understand that I'm in a little bit of a stress situation and my nervous system is not behaving in the normal way. I hope my team doesn't feel the same way. But if they do, then they can empathize with me as well. So that's nice. Uh, the flex is not to get irritated. Yes, I think maybe let's take that as a question, Bhavna. Like, how can we how can we not get irritated? Like, what do we tell ourselves when we know that, this is something that's triggering us? And how can we manage our own reaction?
So I think we all can really sort of do small things, and the start of that would be to regulate our nervous system. Now, each of us regulates our nervous system in a different way. Like I mentioned, for me personally, not dealing with the news has really helped me to keep myself sane. For some people, it could just be what best can you manage your nervous system? Would that be focusing more on work? Would that be, for example, exercising? I have seen with a lot of my clients, exercise is changing the game. So initially, for the first 3, 4 days, we were all in that scared zone. We stopped working out and everything. But movement is actually helping people release that endorphins. What endorphins do for us is that they respond to our pain, right? They act as painkillers. And this is not just physical pain, they also act as emotional and nervous painkillers. They keep us on a bit of a high mode. So even when you see the news and you're sinking, if you are somebody who's exercising regularly, going out and getting some sunshine, getting some fresh air, it helps you from sinking low below. Um, uh, Again, the flex is not to get irritated. It would also be useful to identify what are those triggers that are making you irritated, right? Is it your work? Is it your kids? Is it the traffic? Just identifying what those triggers are will help us respond to them better the next time around the same thing happens. And again, taking care of our nervous system. I think as adults, all of us have been told that we need to constantly be, show that we're strong and we're fine. We're not. We are not fine. None of us sitting here is fine because we have not been here. And it's okay to admit that I am not fine. What is that emotion that I'm feeling? I mean, 2 nights ago, I couldn't sleep. And when my husband asked me what's happening, and I'm like, I feel anxious and I am not fine. And you talk it through, whether it's with your life coach, your spouse, your friend. 3 nights ago, I met a bunch of friends, and this is all we spoke about. And we actually spoke about how we are not fine, and it's okay to be not fine. I'm not saying that we're going to say this to our kids, because obviously, in front of our kids and our teams, we're putting up the best of ourselves. But it's all right to accept those emotions, to deal with it in whatever way it takes. Personally, for me, it's very funny, but this Sunday we went to the mall, and I hadn't stepped out, in a while to a public place. And going to the mall, I saw a lot of crowds. I saw restaurants that were packed. And it's very weird that I say this to you, and it's not like I shopped at all, but just being at the mall made me feel a bit more relaxed, because it made me feel, oh, I'm not the only one who's here in Dubai. There are a million other people who are in Dubai living life as normal, and it just made me feel more normal, more humane. I don't know if that makes sense, but it
No,
just
definitely. Definitely makes sense. And I can relate to some of the things that you're saying for sure. We have a lot of questions coming in from the audience, so I'll go to the next one. And I think this will resonate with a lot of people. Tips on how to prepare for sleep at a time like this.
absolutely important. I mean, I'm going to sound like a mommy for saying this, but just crash your phone. I mean, post 9 p.m. So I'm somebody who doesn't watch Netflix. And in the last 2 nights, actually, I'm watching like these funny old shows that were, I don't know, Friends, for example, things that I watched as a college kid. I'm watching that, I'm reading, I'm chit-chatting with my kids, with my family, because of course now they don't have to sleep early, there's no school, and I'm not looking at the phone. So post 8:30, actually, I am not looking at the phone, and I'm very consciously, I never had timers on my phone. I had it for my kids' phones. I've just installed an Instagram timer on my phone about a week ago. So topmost tip for night is let's not look at our phones. The second tip, and I would say my favorite, something that has really helped me personally in regulating my nervous system, is breathing deeply. When our exhalation is longer than our inhalation, we are telling our nervous system that it's safe. It's a hack. Actually, it's a wellness hack. And we can do this right now, Jaya. Let's do this together. So we're gonna inhale.
Oh,
We're gonna inhale for 4 counts. We're gonna exhale for 8 counts. The more you do this, the more you tell your nervous system that it's fine. I'm safe. Right? It activates what we call our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest, relax, and digest mode. So, shall we demonstrate this together?
yes, let's do it.
Okay, so start. Inhale, exhale, and we do it again. We can count on our head. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So just this simple technique really helps before sleeping, and I can vouch for it. I try it myself.
This is amazing. And how many times should we do it, Bhavna?
I would say 5 minutes at least from a time perspective. In terms of rounds, you will regulate it yourself based on how comfortable you are with your breath work. But definitely for 5 to 10 minutes, if you can, right before you sleep, makes a huge difference because now you've put your nervous system in a sympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, relax.
This is amazing. I really like this. I think it's very simple and easy to follow. So, good takeaway. I'm going to move on to some of the questions that I have, and then, audience, please start um, putting your questions. I see one saying feeling better already. So, this is great. Thank you. So, earlier, Bhavna, you mentioned something about the gut, and we keep hearing about the gut brain relationship. So at a time like this, when we are all stressed out, how does the stress in the mind physically show up in the body and more specifically in the gut? What happens there?
So exactly like I said before, right? We're consuming news and we're constantly keeping our body in that state of alertness or anxiety. Our brain and our gut is constantly talking to each other through the vagus nerve. Now, when your body is stressed, your heart rate is higher, your breath is shallow, and your body is now trying its best to regulate the nervous system and the surrounding inside, and it's not focusing on the digestion. How this will show up as you have this weird feeling, right? So every time that alert comes, like I said, people want to run to the bathroom because things are not digesting well. Anxiety shows up as lack of appetite. I mean, for the first few days, I just wasn't hungry, you know. So there's two opposites though this happens. Either people are feeling completely loss of appetite or people are stress eating. And either situation is not healthy, right? How many of us feel like eating a bowl of salad when we are stressed? Not really. I mean, you're going to reach out for the candy, the chocolate, the cake, whatever. And that then messes up your gut all the more because you're not eating what you should be eating and you're eating this kind of food. So the gut brain connection, however, can be used for our benefit because we can do things to stimulate our vagus nerve, which then triggers relaxation in our body. A simple example that I can give you is right before you're eating, and you've been constantly anxious throughout the day. Right before you're eating, if you go give your loved one a hug, you have a younger son, give him a 30-second hug right before you sit down for lunch or dinner. Your body is now releasing the signs that it is safe, it is happy, and the digestion happens so much better. And there's a lot of
Wow.
things that can be done. A hug is just a very simple thing. You've told your body, traditionally, a lot of cultures have a practice of praying right before eating. Again, it stems from that simple gut brain connection, is that when your brain is in a state of relaxation, in a state of gratitude, your body digests food much better. Now,
Wow.
if you want to flip this over, you can actually use your gut brain connection to relax your mind. Very simple thing. If you hold a warm cup in between both your hands, that warmth in between your hands signals your brain that it is safe and it is comfortable. So if you can grab your favorite warm drink, whatever it is, even if it's a warm cup of water with a little bit of lemon, and you're holding that in between your hands, and you did that first thing in the morning, hold it for a couple of seconds in between your hands. You've signaled your brain that it's safe. And now, when you have this, your gut absorbs it so much better. You've told your vagus nerve that it's fine.
You know what I'm really liking is things do not have to be overly complicated. These simple tips that you've shared about the make the exhale longer and hug your child or some loved one before eating and just hold a warm cup. These are some, I mean, very, very easy to follow. And I think our audience will find this very useful. And I can see more um, questions coming in. How do we manage stress eating at a time like this? Would you say use the same techniques, hug your loved one, or what can we do
I
about
think
that?
I think So I think one thing that we all need to understand, like I said before, is this is a new situation for all of us. Under normal circumstances, yes, stress eating, the more you exercise, the more you eat healthy, the body eats less, the body craves less stressful food, junk food. In a situation like this, very simply, uh, I think it's okay to, discount yourself. It's okay if you ate a few extra calories in a day. Having said that, I'm not saying go out and eat an entire cake. Stick to your meals, right? If you do your basic breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you've ensured that your breakfast, lunch, and dinner has the macro and the micronutrients. You've covered your protein, you've covered your fiber, and then if you're eating a little bit of junk, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Don't hold on to that guilt, because your body is already stressed with what's happening outside. Now, if you're going to sit on that guilt and build up on that guilt, you're just setting yourself up for a nervous system failure. Accept what you're feeling, grab yourself a proper lunch and eat that small piece of cake without the guilt, saying that, what, it's fine, I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. I can go out and exercise tomorrow, I can go out and walk today, and fix this. Stop holding so much guilt within yourself. I think we're holding a lot already.
Thank you. I'm going to pick one more question from the audience. It says that some people feel intense fear while others feel oddly calm. How do we normalize this different emotional reaction without judging ourselves or others? And this person says that he got told off on a community chat while asking others to remain calm. Wow. I have full empathy with you. This would be a very awkward situation indeed. So, how do we manage this disparity of emotions? And if we get told off at a time like this?
I honestly think, the way we've been doing this is I'm focusing on my nervous system regulation, my emotions, and of those around me. So whether it's my kids or my parents, I'm just trying to handle the fort here. Yes, there are people, and a lot of people are also very agitated, aggravated at this point of time. It's almost like being in a traffic jam for 17 days, because our nervous system is not able to differentiate between a traffic jam, a tiger, and a war. And these are people who've been in this agitated situation for 17 days. So they're obviously, some of them are on their edge. Um, I would just be focusing on regulating myself rather than going and telling people what they need to do. And I think that just works that has worked well for me. Also, what really works is walking the talk. So if you are running companies, you are running the HR for companies, you have colleagues and employees who are getting stressed and agitated. The best thing would also be to walk the talk, to show them what these simple tips, these simple things that we're doing, to demonstrate to them ways in which I'm keeping calm and I'm, regulating my nervous system through these simple things. And I think that also helps.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll go on to another question in terms of um, the the sleep. Bhavna, we were going to do a simple technique of humming.
Yes.
So, since the sleep technique came up, do you think now is a good time for sharing the humming technique with our audience?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of techniques, and this is one of my favorite techniques. For all the singers over here, please remember that singing is actually a great way to activate your vagus nerve and tell your body that it's calm. So singing actually does that. And for people like us who are not great at singing, I have another simpler technique, which is called humming. All you're going to do is inhale from your nose, and when you exhale, you're humming. So it's Mm. Now, again, for the talented people, you can do this with musical notes. For people like me, I just do a basic humming. This humming technique at the beginning of the day and even at the end of the day tells your nervous system that it's safe. And I'll tell you something funny. The same thing that this technique does to our vagus nerve, which goes from our brain to our gut, you could do the same thing with gargling. So if you woke up in the morning, got yourself some warm water with a pinch of salt, and did a little bit of gargling for about 10 minutes, you will see that even that triggers your vagus nerve and keeps you calm for some time.
Wow. So we have breath work already, we have humming, and we have gargling. And of course, holding of the warm cup and the hugging. So I'm loving these. These are pretty simple and easy to follow. I'm going to take on some questions from the audience. I hate fake positive. It's not authentic. We should be able to say when aren't okay, no one is happy 24/7. I think that's so true. And I think we said at the start of the talk here that, it's okay to not be okay. And we are facing this kind of a situation for the first time, and our nervous systems are all, of course, on a bit of a high alert. So I think it's important to normalize the fact that it's okay not to be okay, and that's fine. And we also have a comment here from the audience saying that, as you mentioned, we can reduce stress by keeping our phones or airplane mode or away. However, wouldn't that potentially put us at greater risk if we miss an important alert or announcement by the authorities? Perhaps it's better to stay informed, face the situation, and simply follow the guidelines. What are your thoughts on this? Actually, that question was going on in my mind as well, that how do we balance between overconsumption of news and staying informed for important alerts?
See, the very important alert that we could potentially get, and I think we've all been overthinking big time, right? And we've all thought about this situation, is that you could be asked to evacuate if something has happened in a kilometer or two of your vicinity, right? And when that happens, our houses have all got those triggers and alarms where the authorities will make sure you get out. What I'm asking you to protect yourself is from these tiny alerts that come in the middle of the night. It's 5 a.m. You're anyway sleeping, right? What is that alert going to do is just wake you up, put you in an overthinking zone until the safe alert comes. But either ways, you're not going to leave your room. Either ways, you're not leaving your bed. Either ways, nothing changes. What changes? I mean, once the alert that I got at 12:30 in the midnight, I was already asleep. I got the alert, I woke up, I stayed awake for the next 3 hours, overthinking all the potential situations, and then I went back to sleep. So I'm asking ourselves to protect ourselves from these tiny things. Anything big that happens, trust me, the authorities know exactly how to get you out of where you are, right? We have these sort of speakers inside our houses, the fire alarm systems. We have people in our houses who are going to obviously, wake you up and take you there. So it's just these small triggers that I'm asking ourselves to, just take a step back. And again, like I said, we're not putting all our phones off. I have a landline which is outside my room. If something has to happen, somebody will call me on that landline. So we're making sure
Yeah.
we are reachable, but we're making sure we're not constantly triggered. Let me put it that way.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think at some point also kind of having faith in the universe, right? If it's really that bad, then someone will probably get you out there. So I think protecting our sleep at a time like this is crucially important. So during the day, perhaps it's fine, but do protect your sleep so that you can function normally during the day. And yes, I think everyone has a maybe that balance between staying alert and responsible versus like kind of just protecting your own time for restoration could be different for different people, and that's fine. But I think do be aware that you have a choice and you can make this kind of a balance. And yeah, I see more questions coming in. Um, so one of our friends here says that he does sing and people around him run away and that makes him feel relaxed. So that's beautiful. I like that. Another question is that you have some team members who are feeling very stressed. How to know uh, if to offer them work from home country option or stay in Dubai and practice your tips here. Perhaps removing the stress completely is the best action. What would you what would you guide leaders, HR leaders in this kind of a scenario that when their teams are very, very stressed and feeling anxiety, what can they do? And I think on the more practical things, some people are feeling that, they don't feel safe here, they may want to go back home. Any advice there?
Def Yes, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of HR leaders have definitely taken the work from home option, right? A lot of companies are doing that. Option two, what she's saying here is the work from home country. If your company can survive with that, and if that makes the your employee more comfortable, then why not? Right? Why not let them, your business runs as normal, your employee is feeling more safe. And if that is an option that you can offer, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Because it's a win-win. That person can go stay wherever they want to be for the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks. We don't know when the situation resolves. And they can actually, when employees are not stressed, they work better, right? Productivity is only better. So I think it's a great win-win situation for both the parties.
Yeah, I so much agree with that. And I also would like to add that maybe it's something that's a matter of industry to industry and company to company, because we also have some roles where you cannot let your employees go out of the country. And then there's a risk that, okay, how will your job survive if you cannot come back and all of that? So I think it really depends. But if you are an organization where work from home country is an option, it doesn't create much disruption to work and for that specific role, then I think it's nice to show empathy at a time like this. I mean, for reward specifically, we follow that. We've been hybrid first, remote first as an organization since COVID times, and it's worked out well for us. And I think that deep sense of trust is very, very important, and that ownership and responsibility amongst the colleagues. Um, so it goes hand in hand and depends on several factors. I think there's another comment here is that what makes people anxious is feeling trapped. It's good to let them know that they have work from home option, but there are other ways to deal with the added stress, namely well-being techniques that we are discussing today. So true. So true. And that was the exact spirit that we decided to run something like this, because for many of us, we feel Dubai is home and we want to be here we know we are going to be safe here, but our nervous systems do need that added assurance. And that's why we decided to kick off this series where we can share very simple, practical techniques with everyone to manage the response that their nervous systems are doing. So,
Jaya, there's a good question here. I think if we can
mm,
take this one,
which one?
if someone feels overwhelmed by the current news about war in the middle of a busy work day, what is the
Yeah.
quickest way they can reset their mind and body?
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure. I think that's a very good question. Let's take that.
So I think here is where I'd like to give everybody some very quick tips, right? One way to just instantly reset your nervous system is if you can get a bowl of iced water and dunk your face in it, because it shocks your nervous system and it literally wakes you up and energizes you and creates that instant reset. Step out of that situation where you are in and get some fresh air, right? It could be going for a walk downstairs in your building, obviously ensuring safety. Going for a walk inside your gym, going for a walk inside your building, your house, just walking around sort of resets your nervous system. The another one, and this is very interesting, and I think our kids do it really well, is just hopping. So you're stopping. I'm gonna just demonstrate this. You're on your spot and you're just hopping. What this does is it triggers the points in your under your feet and also help you reset your nervous system. So these are just a few quick ways to come back into the moment. And can we now demonstrate our tapping technique? Now, this is a very interesting technique that I've been teaching. It's called emotional freedom tapping. This takes about 5 minutes, and if we can do this together, it is tapping the energy centers of your body. And when you're doing the tapping, you are giving yourself any affirmation. In these days, the affirmation that I would be working with is I am fine, I am safe, I am okay. So you start off with tapping your head, the top of your head. And from there, you come down, come above you're on top of your head, you come on top of your eyebrows, you go below your eyes.
And do I keep
Yeah.
saying I'm safe? Do I do I say that?
Yeah, so you're constantly yeah, you can say it loudly, you can say it in your head, but you're telling yourself that I'm safe, I am fine. I'm safe is literally the one that we're working with right now. You're tapping on top of your lips or below your lips, on your collarbone, and then very important, just under your armpit. So this is your lymphatic drainage, right? Both the sides, even your gut. And you're going right down, right down to the feet, tapping your legs and going right down to your feet. Now, if you can do about 3 to 5 rounds of this with that constant affirmation, again, I promise you, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel lighter after 5 minutes. So again, Kajal, just to answer your question, these are some of the ways in the middle of your work day, even in the middle of, writing your emails and work and whatever, you can do some of these techniques and it instantly makes you feel safer, comfortable, and resets your nervous system.
I really like that. Thank you. I'll add one more that works well for me is just being at a place where you are getting natural sunlight. Of course, during the day, for me, it makes a huge difference. And I think just going out and breathing fresh air and getting sunlight helps to calm me down. So, with that, I think we're almost running into the close of this session, and I'm so happy to see the brilliant participation that we have had from our audience today. I think in true EO style, Bhavna, you're also an EO member. I'm an EO member. I'd like to ask. Um, you in terms of your takeaways and three things that you think people should remember from today's session, what do you think they are?
For me, the top three things, and the first one is going to be that we need to remember that our body and our nervous system is not broken, right? So instead of constantly being worried about why am I feeling anxious or why am I stressed, why does my body feel pain, why am I constantly stressing, I think we need to accept that we are and our body is helping us respond to this constant stress that's around us. In fact, our body is keeping us safe by triggering all these things, right? By triggering the pain. So our body is doing a great job trying to protect us. And all these signs and symptoms that we are feeling is only because of the prolonged stress that we're in. The second thing, and I think someone said here very nicely, is it's okay to be not okay. And just to accept those feelings and work with it. Um, being the more safe moments we create in our body, the more our body is going to help us heal. So all these tips that I've shared with you today, I promise you they don't take a lot of time. It's just being mindful about sprinkling these few moments throughout the day, whether it's a bit of breath work, whether it's the tapping, the humming, the singing, holding that cup of tea, dunking our face in ice. All of these are very small things that probably take a minute or two of your time on a day to day basis, but it'll go a long way in telling our nervous system that it's okay. And also, it gives us these moments of calm throughout the day. And most important tip from my side would be limit that constant scrolling of the news.
Great. Thank you so much. I think with then I it will be really important for all of you who are here to now make your affirmations and your commitments in terms of what is that one thing that you're going to do to make sure your nervous system remains calm during a time like this. So what is it that you're committed to doing to support yourself? Please share your answers in the chat. And we'd like to see what is it that you are making a commitment to do. It can be about giving a hug. It can be about putting your face in ice water, putting your phone on flight mode. Come on, let's see what everyone's going to make a commitment to do. Breathing 4-8 is very good. Yes, I think that one is really, really nice. That 4 inside and 8 outside. In fact, I had no idea that, just by the mere fact that the exhale is longer than the inhale, it makes your body feel calmer. And it's really very simple to use, and you can do it at any point in time. Continue to live in midst of all this with grace and kindness. That is so important. I think that's beautiful, Sam. Thank you for sharing. Um, we would like to see more responses from our audience. What did you like, and what would you like to commit to doing to manage your nervous system? Uh, Breathing 4-8, more natural sunlight in between calls, stop phone at least 30 minutes before going to sleep. And maybe to add on to that, not look at the phone within the first 30 minutes of when you're awake. Because I've been doing that. I'm guilty. I'm going to stop doing that. Thank you, Natalie, for sharing. Um, I'll try to pick up the jumping and breathing. I do keep my phone away, and of course, to sing. I really like this, Surya. Thank you. I think the jumping technique also is very simple and like brings interest in instant relaxation. The hopping, yeah. Just
Yeah.
be kids again. Say
In fact, Jay, we can put up the barcode of, we'd like to share with you a simple guide that I've created, which is a wellness guide for these stressful times. It has a summary of all the tips that we've discussed today. If you just scan this barcode, you will be able to download this guide for yourself. Feel free to share it with your colleagues, your teams, your peers who are going through these stressful times, because it has 10 ways in which you can calm your nervous system. Just some of the techniques that we've spoken about today are all mentioned over here. So feel free to scan this barcode and download or view this guide that we've created.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I can see limiting screen time. Thank you, Prakash. Yeah, we're all going to commit to limiting our screen time. For those of you, some said that, they missed the first half. We have a full recording of this session, and we're going to share it with you for those of you who have registered for this session on the Luma page. So that link will be emailed to you, and we will put it up on the Rewards social channel as well, because we want to support the community at a time like this. I think whatever Bhavna has shared is simple, it's very usable, it's very relevant, it will help us to be resilient. And I'm sure together we'll all rise up again. And let's stay calm. Let's live in acceptance that, it's okay not to be okay. Let's use these techniques. There is a very comprehensive guide. We will be trying to summarize all of this in one page as well if you're the types who doesn't like something very detailed. So we'll soon summarize all of this. And please do share. The whole point of the Rewardz Rise Up initiative is really to support the community at a time like this. So the more you share, the better it is. We may consider holding more follow-up sessions to this. So if you found this useful, do let us know, give us a thumbs up, and we'll be very happy to organize more of these sessions, and staying committed to supporting everyone at a time like this. It's hard, it's understandable, but with more empathy and with beautiful tips like what Bhavna has shared, I think we can all take care of ourselves. As we started the conversation, right? That let's focus on what we can control, and what we can control is really ourselves. We have the options now in front of us. We have these tools, simple tools. We don't really have to even step or go anywhere far for this. We can do this where we are. So let's focus on what we can control. Let's use these tips. Let's manage ourselves in a better way, and let's try to perhaps believe in that long term and think a bit more long term. Um, Resilience is also about knowing that when there are downs, there is an up. And when you've reached the bottom, the only way is to go up. So let's have that belief. And yes, with that, I will close today's session. Thank you very much, everybody, for giving us this 1 hour in the middle of your day. And for those of you who are joining us in UAE and celebrating Ramadan, I mean Eid Mubarak to all of you. I hope that this Eid brings a lot of peace to our region and globally. And thank you. Take care of
Thank
yourselves.
you. Thank you.